Good afternoon, everybody. I was in one of the discount stores that we have around here the other day, and they had these. It's called Crayola Washable Mixing Mediums. It's a very interesting box, and I got online and I did some research, and you can buy these mixing mediums in larger quantities. But there are 3 different kinds. And I have looked at the box, and they're not very well marked. So we're going to just get them out. But this is Crayola Mixing Mediums. For some reason, this box has 2, let me put it there, has 2 of each. They have a pearlescent, a texture, and a glitter. And, you know, Crayola is a lot less expensive than, like, some of the other brands of texture medium and that kind of thing. You can tell which one is the glitter because it's very gray. When I got online, the bigger containers were actually marked very nice. You can, if you look at this real careful, that's pearl. And so is that one. So we don't need those. What I want to do today is I want to do a little test. That's not very shiny, so that's got to be the texture medium. So what I thought I would do is, we would do sort of a swatch, and instead of kids paint, I'm just going to use craft paint. And this is one of the really cheap ones from Joann's Craft Essentials, and I thought that I would use it just to see what happens when you add these mediums to craft paint. And by using all the same color, I thought that that would be very interesting. What I want to do is I want to do a swatch of each without anything in it, and then a swatch of each one with some mixed into it. So let's see how that works. Now, I think that's supposed to be texture. Oops. When we get it out, oh yeah, this one's definitely pearl-like. Oh, I need to put some in my blue. And of course, this is going to be one of those things where I have to, ooh, that's interesting. It doesn't want to come out of there. The glitter is very thick, actually thicker than the texture medium. But you can order these in bigger bottles, and, you know, this way you wouldn't have to buy glitter paint, you would have it. Well, that's not coming out very well, so I'm just going to, oh, well, that would work. And if I get out a paper towel, then I can just wipe off the palette knife. I can stir everything up with the palette knife and wipe it off in between things. So you know, it was just a couple of dollars, but I thought, this looks like fun. So, but I want to see, but you know, I wouldn't want to use it on a page that I was real excited by if I didn't try it out first. Now, that might need some more paint. It's got a nice blue color. And this is the texture medium. And I just wanted to see what it would do. It's definitely not thick enough to really give us a, I don't think it's going to give us much of a ridge or anything like that, but I did think I would try it with the palette knife and see what happened. Okay, so I just got out a nice brush to make a swatch of each thing that was pretty decently thick. And this is just mixed media paper. I'm gonna move over just a little bit. I started sort of in the middle. And I have water to wash my brush off with. This is the texture. And I'm just going to kind of leave it thick and see if it dries thick. Now, I might see if I have a card or something and can try it. Well, I could do it with the palette knife. What did I do with that little palette knife? Just to see what happens with it. If it'll dry that way, or if it's going to get, if it's going to flatten out. This is the pearl, and it puts a nice shiny texture down. I don't know if you can see it. I'll have to hold the paper up a little bit. Let's see. I don't know. And of course it'll all depend on what it looks like when it gets dry. And the glitter. Now the glitter's interesting in that when you swipe it across with the brush, it's got sparkle in it, but then frankly just by itself it's kind of cool. It would be very cool in a background. As a matter of fact, I don't want to waste that. We'll find some place to put it. Let's get out my little desky journal and put it over there. Okay, so that's all of them swatched without any paint in them. And now this is the texture. Let's that might be something we need to try. I'm just going to paint this here like so because it looks like it's got grit in it. I didn't see that until I started to paint it off of my brush. So that is one thing I didn't see before. And this is the pearl with paint in it. Now it thinned the color or the density of the paint out some. If you notice, this is a lot darker than this, but it's got a really nice shine to it. And now for the glitter. Well, honestly, right this minute, mixed in with the paint, I can't say that the glitter really intrigues me. I'm going to push that up a little higher. When it dries, it might do something totally different than what I think, but we'll have to check it out and see. I wanted to try a little of, this is the texture medium. It is very gritty, that much I'll tell you. It has a lot of grit in it. You don't see it when you put it on the thing, but it definitely, it almost makes the paper look like sandpaper, and it's got, it gives you an interesting texture. So, guys, I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to use up all this paint on my desk journal, and I'll be back when it gets all dry and let you know what I think. I'm sure that different colors will do different things. I really like the pearl all by itself. So let's let me just turn this off for right now till it gets dry. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I have to tell you that whatever this stuff is, it does not dry quickly. It's been quite a while, and any place I left that texture stuff, it is definitely not dry. I'm going to zoom in so you can see everything. And while mixing it with paint is something I probably won't do, going over paint is really kind of cool. So let me kind of zoom in and show you what's happened. This is the plain paint, and the texture. Now, this texture is very gritty, but it does leave an actual texture. It's not ever going to hold up the way modeling paste would, or texture paste, but it's very cool. It leaves an interesting feel to the paper, and once it dries, it does not seem to pull off. I mean, you probably could rub it off. Again, you might be able to use it through a stencil. It's awfully thin, so it's questionable as to what all you could do with it, but I think it has some interesting possibilities. It really has a neat and different. This is being the regular paint, and this is the texture. Now, you can see that the pearlescent, and it has a little texture to it too. The pearlescent gives a really pretty pearl color, but when you mix it with the paint, it really doesn't do very much. And I honestly don't think it would have done much with the kids' paint either. But then, like I said, the glitter is really fun, and it's very glittery, but when you mix it with the paint, it kind of takes the glitter down a little. Now, these might be fun mixed with watercolor, and I might have to try that on another day. Instead of mixing them with acrylics or craft paint, then watercolor might be fun. But when I got to looking at this, when it was getting started to get dry, and some of this texture paint is still not dry. Where I've left it real thick, it's still not dry. But it does leave a nice raised texture. When I was looking at this, I thought, you know, I would like it better if I used it over the top of my paint. And now the texture, it just leaves a texture. I think it's fine mixed with the paint. But look at how pretty the pearl looks over the paint. And the glitter stuff over your paint too. It's very pretty that way. So while I probably won't mix them together again, I think it's got some real interesting uses as a top coat on those things. And you know, honestly, they're very inexpensive for what they are, and That's very wet. The pearl is very pretty, and this pearl painted on, say, a colored cardstock would be gorgeous. And I think now, normally I think these are around $7 for this, for 6 bottles. I paid $3. So, you know, it's one of those things, and it's in the kids section, so it's less expensive. So that was my testing of the washable mixing mediums. And like I said, I like the texture paint. I love this pearl. I like the glitter. I just don't know that I would mix the pearl and the glitter. I think I would paint it over the top. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's find my, this is a comparison. Let's see if I'm putting that in there. Just and I always read a quote at the end of my videos from 1001 Ways to Creativity. And let's see what today's quote is. The greatest creative acts often flow forth from the tiniest details of life. The greatest creative acts often flow forth from the tiniest details of life. You guys have a great afternoon. Go make some art, have fun, and thanks for coming. Bye-bye.